Hello friends, I hope you are well. It's been an extremely busy week, from sleeping on the carpet, sleeping on the couch, to sleeping on the bed, and that's all before the lunchtime nap on the grass outside. I am of course talking about my dog, who can't talk and make videos about tech news, so instead you got me, Pat. Welcome to youtube.com, where you can watch videos about stuff. Nonetheless, it has been a busy week in the news. Outlets writing about the NBN, about COVID, about outrage, and about Channel 7's Plate of Origin hosted by celebrity chefs Matt Preston, Gary Mehigan, and Manu Fidel. Seriously, who wrote this? Oh yeah, me. Well, it's absolute madness out there. So let me cook you up some delicious local tech and telco news and garnish this splendid soup with some opinions. After all, it's just, I don't think I have the hair for an OnlyFans page, so you're left with videos like this. In today's video, we have federal laws for internet speeds. Time for NBN upgrades already? Woolworths? More like Spamworths. The Department of Defense doesn't know Malwarebytes is free, and Optus joins the space race. Now remember, if you like this video, then tap that like button, and if you'd like to see more, then please consider subscribing. Now, I wanted to also note that last week I mentioned a story about Spotify and accidentally edited it out. In any case, our most diligent audience members picked that out, and yeah, I made a mistake. So let me update you on that, because while I forgot it, it isn't actually a small story. It's quite a huge story, in fact, because Spotify is no longer just a music service. On stage in New York City, the company shared its new goal of finding the perfect content to accompany every moment in your day. CEO Daniel Ek said his company is taking a massive leap forward that goes beyond the conventional format. Ek and his fellow executives showcased a new version of Spotify that's more closely aligned with Songza, with playlists tailored for a listener's day. But it's not just limited to music. The new Spotify also brings podcasts to what was previously just a music app, and a new video capsule offers streaming videos from partners like Comedy Central, Vice News, and The Nerdist. Essentially, Spotify wants to become your all-in-one jukebox for literally everything. Let me know in the comments below if this would make you sign up for Spotify. I expect some tier plans to be involved though, so let's see what the future brings. Alright, let's continue to our big topic for this week, and that's the internet, and of course, our favorite, the NBN. On Wednesday, a new federal law introduced and was made active. Under this new federal law, you have the right to a decent internet speed. Now, I've put it in air quotes, but we will get to the reason in a moment. You may be shocked right now, so take a break. Take a breather. Great, let's continue. Because so far, the internet in Australia has been a dad joke passed through generations, all leading back to one source: the dinosaurs in Parliament. But somehow, some youngins managed to get this law through. As part of the telecommunication reform package, one of the three main elements is the statutory infrastructure provider regime. The other two are the regional broadband scheme, which we have talked about in the past, and the reforms to carrier separation agreements, which we won't look into today, maybe another time. So what is the statutory infrastructure provider? Well, it'll be part of a new universal service guarantee covering broadband as well as voice services. So from the 1st of July, NBN Co will be the statutory infrastructure provider for areas it has declared made ready for service. The statutory infrastructure provider obligations ensure that all Australian premises are able to access super fast broadband services, 25 megabits per second or better. Sound familiar? Hence the air quotes, we've heard this before. However, there will be a requirement on NBN Co to connect premises and supply wholesale broadband services on reasonable requests. Plus, NBN Co will become the SIP for areas as it rolls out its network, and will be the default SIP for all Australia after the NBN is declared built and fully operational. Other network providers can also be SIPs where appropriate, for example, where they have contracts to service premises in a new real estate development. Now, while SIPs will be able to offer a range of products, they will be required to offer a standard broadband service with peak speeds of at least 25 megabits download and 5 megabits upload on fixed line and fixed wireless networks. Now, SIP standard service will also be required to support voice services for consumers, so they can't just let the voice go along and fail, they have to give you the full Monty. The Minister for Communication will be able to make standards, rules, and benchmarks that could set out more detailed requirements, such as timeframes for providing access and rectifying faults. Now, SIPs will be required to comply with these standards, rules, and of course those benchmarks. The Australian Communication and Media Authority will monitor and enforce the the SIP arrangements. Now, this law has certainly jumped through some hoops. The government originally introduced the legislation on 22nd June 2017. Then it passed the first hoop on the 25th of January 2018 and had to be reintroduced with a number of amendments on the 28th of November 2019. Then, the Australian government responded to the Senate Environment and Communication Legislation Committee report on the current version of the Telecommunication Reform Package Bill on the 14th of May 2020 during the second reading debate in the Senate, and the result was that the government supports the recommendation of the Senate Committee's majority report. Phew. Alright, I have linked the Department of Communication document below, and now, in July, it's technically live. So hang on to you kangaroo skin caps. We might just end up getting some decent internet speeds for once. Well, maybe. It's a long road ahead. Here is what Communication Minister Paul Fletcher had to say. Telecommunication has long been recognised as an essential utility, and the government is committed to providing access to reliable high-speed broadband for all Australians. Honestly though, this is just the start of the process. I'm not sure when affected premises get their 25 megabit slice of the internet pie. In any case, keep an eye out for more news on this in the coming, I was going to say weeks, then maybe months, but I realize it might be more like years. So on that bombshell, let's talk NBN upgrades. Will we ever get to see any? What if your internet is so bad you can't stand it anymore? What if it's like a dull ache in your temple you just can't get rid of? Well, if it is that, you might want to get that checked out. But if it's just your imagination, then you are this man. Brisbane software developer Matt Hall decided enough was enough, and he was going to bankroll his own upgrade from fiber to the node to fiber to the house. He certainly has the high ground now, and with that smug look and fiber to the home, he has certainly earned all the envy right now. Here's the thing, Mr. Hall had to jump through a few hoops. A visit to the local MP, a few mobster hangouts, a casino, a dry cleaners, and a Bunnings. He was ready then to drop $11,000 to get faster internet, or at least internet that doesn't drop out when it rains every time. That's not the worst quote I've seen. While NBN Co has not released any true stats, there has been quotes ranging from $3,000 to $33,000, though there was also a quote for $200K in regional Queensland. All that is good, and it all may end well, we hope, but no good deed goes unpunished. With his upfront expense, his neighbours can now get fibre to the door at next to nothing. Looks like an absolutely smashing deal behind door number 3. Mr. Hall told the ABC he has no regrets, and his webpage now loads 0.5 seconds faster. He didn't say that part, but I just wanted to add that because sometimes that's really the difference. But here is the thing, there is much wider issues that stem from this. Fiber to the node is bad, and NBN Co should feel bad. But what's done is done, or rather, what rollout is completed, but it isn't. So the question is, what would it take to upgrade all the 4.7 million Australians who have fiber to the node to fiber to the premises? Well, Associate Professor Mark Greger from RMIT in Melbourne believes it's $7 billion. He's currently on the money with that estimate. It used to be triple that, or at least double that in the last 5 years. From a certain view, fiber has gotten much cheaper as the years have gone by, and most countries have invested in it. So Communication Minister Paul Fletcher has said that in the past that the NBN is not set in stone, and in fact has $4.5 billion set aside in a little dark dungeon for network upgrades over the next 4 years. And so it's about 2.5 billion short, maybe? But NBN Co had this to say in regards to potential upgrades. NBN Co has identified potential upgrade paths for each access technology to enable the provisioning of greater speeds and capacity over time as demand increases. And seriously, demand has increased every year on year. Anyway, 3/4 of fiber to the node customers today can get more than 50 megabits a second, and around 50% of fiber to the node customers can get more than 80 megabits per second. This is significant improvement on the ADSL technology it largely replaced, which according to the ACCC averages just 8 megabits per second. They certainly believe that the numbers are much smaller, and a small subset of fiber to the node customers actually need to be upgraded for now. But what about the future? I'm sure the 4.5 billion can pay for that now. Well, fiber to the node already runs on outdated copper. How long can we piggyback off 100-year-old wires? When will it all collapse? Telstra was going to retire the copper network and upgrade it until they saw the best deal of their life and sold the aging non-asset to the NBN. and their mixed technology attitude. One thing that I hope for right now is that we do a massive upgrade and create some infrastructure work to restart the economy. After all, why not? Everyone is either home in isolation or home because there is no work. What better way to burn time than watch youtube.com? Let's move on. The government will invest approximately $270 billion over the coming decade in new and upgraded defense capabilities, including some potent and long-range combat systems and more secure supply chains, because hey, why not, right? The world isn't getting any better, so let's make sure we go up in flames of glory. Amongst all that tomfoolery, guns and specialized explosives, is a little footnote of $20 billion that will go to defending the defenders from nerds, or rather evil nerds, or bored nerds. It's hard to tell who's who these days. Cyber warfare. It's the visible war played out on computer screens that cost a lot to defend and can cause billions or more in damage. If you'd like to read more, I have linked the update from the Department of Defense below. So the $20 billion will be split between two areas. One of information and cyber defense, who will get the big chunk, a sweet $15 billion, and then the enterprise ICT, which will receive $5 billion to support all that. Seems like the IT department got shafted again, but that's just my thoughts there. This is of course a direct result of the recent onslaught of cyber attacks against Australia. After all, what's the point of getting shot at, endangering your life, when you can sit at your keyboard and change all the desktop backgrounds in Parliament to Putin? That would be really cool. Other investments include secure wireless networks, artificial intelligence, augmented analytics, whatever that means, robotics, blockchain immersion technologies, and quantum computing. Let's move on to our last two topics. And Woolworths felt the pain this week after getting fined more than $1 million, or about 10 wads of toilet roll in Victoria, for breaching Australia's anti-spam laws more than 5 million times over the course of a year. Thing is, these spam laws have been around for nearly 2 decades, and Spamworths is certainly big enough to know what's what in the spam bowl. To be honest, there is no excuse for it. Now, these emails were sent between October 2018 and July 2019, and Spamworths said it was due to system issues and not their marketing prowess. They added that all the issues have been fixed now, and that the recent sales on hand sanitizer have paid back the fine twofold, so not to worry. Now, Spamworths Managing Director Amanda Bardwell said that many of the breaches they were warned about many times were the result of technical issues, and that we are acting on unsubscribe requests from individual rewards members. We did not assume it meant other members sharing that email address had to be opted out as well. What? Now, I know it sounds insane, but yes, a single email unsubscribed, but apparently they figured out that there are members who share the same email and are still keen to get those emails. This opens a whole new can of worms, because how did Spamworths know that there were multiple people using the same email for their rewards card? How did they track that? Lastly, let's talk Optus, who this week joined the space race, or rather paid someone else to do it for them. Optus has contracted with Airbus Defence and Space for a new satellite, calling it Optus 11, a very plain name as it comes after Optus 10, which burned up in re-entry. I don't know if it did, but I'm sure it comes after 10. This new satellite will hit the atmosphere in 2023. What's special about it? Well, it can change its location, coverage, and bandwidth capacity on demand in space. It's radio controlled. Optus 11 will operate in the Asia-Pacific region, providing coverage from Antarctica to the Cuckoos Island, and will be to utilize the Ku band of 11 to 14 GHz spectrum for both broadcast and broadband services. What's cool though is that it will also improve Australia's and New Zealand's GPS system to be within 0.1 meters. I can finally find my phone in the house. Friends, thank you very much for watching this particularly long episode, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Stay tuned for more tech content throughout the week. And if Aussie tech sounds like your jam, then please consider subscribing. But if it's just this video that you liked, then make sure you let me know by tapping that like button. It does actually help a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another one. Bye!